what you call this. There we go.
Technology, eh? Okay. Good morning again and welcome to the Thetford Town Council Allotment Committee meeting on the 12th of October. We start off with item 35823, declarations of any disclosable pecuniary interests. If something does come up at a relevant time, let us know. Apologies for absence.
Received from councillors Brindle and Wood.
Okay, thank you very much.
On that point, I'm going to ask a question about that. Councillor Wood said that he can't foresee time when he can possibly attend during the day. All our other committee meetings, as far as I'm aware, are in the evening. Would it be worth changing this to the evening? I know we've got a good presence here today in terms of public engagement. I think it is easier for people to get to meetings later in the day. Would that be an option you consider?
Well, consider it, make it, let you know.
Can I propose that?
No, because it's not the agenda
I
item.
can't pretend, right?
All right. But I think, if I may, I think it's a fair point because Ron joined the committee because he had an interest in allotments, but he does work full time. So I do think, you know, there may be a good reason why we need to meet during the day, and that's fine. But if not, you know, and it is possible to move to the evening to accommodate him. I mean, the minimum attendee for the meeting is 3 councillors. You know, if one of us was poorly, the whole meeting would be cancelled, frankly. So we need Ron's interest, and we need to try and accommodate him, frankly, because you know we may get to a situation where the meeting doesn't go ahead because we don't have enough councillors. So it's worth looking into, I think.
But I would also be keen to see Ron here. Labour. It's nice to have somebody else, isn't it? Have an alternative viewpoint, I think.
Okay, we'll make a note. I will also make sure that we involve the allotment teams themselves, because they're the important people. This meeting isn't just for us, it's for those, and they're the ones who have to, and we'll let them know, decide what we're going to do. We do know that when, and I'm not having a pop at Ron, of course, he knew that when he stood for allotments, the meetings were in the date.
Yeah.
And he does say in his letter that he could book time off if necessary. You know, but we will take on comments and note them and see where we go. But we'll discuss it with. Okay. Yeah. Right then. Right. 36023, appointment of non-councillors to the allotment committee. Some time ago, we had the idea of appointing 2 non-councillors, non-voting role to the allotment committee. We had some discussions at other allotment meetings and we were given 2 names, which was John and Peter. So would you like to come and join the committee? Oh, sorry. You know, I'm going to traffic now. I thought we'd already got going. Are we all confirmed for, right, any proposal? Do we need a proposal and second that?
Which one we do?
Yeah, all those in favour? Okay, now you can come up, but you have to sign some documents on the way through. It's not a check. All right. That's one. The minutes are next time. You can sit where you like. It's you can get into something. That's really good.
Yes. Have to keep it, hey?
Just in case there's something in there that Alan hasn't.
You know all the procedures. If you want to speak, put your hand up.
Yes. Hey, you just ignore me.
It was us.
Don't fix station.
Thank you very much and welcome, gentlemen. Might not have realised what you let yourselves in for, but there you go. It's really nice there because now I'm not necessarily oldest one. Okay, the minutes, item 36123, the minutes of the last meeting,
Read.
the two meetings,
Both agreed.
both agreed? Yeah, you agree? Pay attention.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
So it doesn't.
Just
Wasn't there anyway, so.
And next one, 36223, allotment officers update.
Morning, everybody.
Morning.
Waveney Construction Service Limited have completed the groundwork at the main site entrance of Berry Road allotments. It's much improved the vehicle access of the Berry Road and now has a tarmac slope leading down to the main gated entrance. The comment Peter Bowell made, that will be addressed, and after that's been completed, that should be good. A new mortise lock and 23 keys have been purchased for the main site gate at Ickmill Way. This will be fitted after the keys have been sent to the relevant plot holders, which will probably be at the end of when all the rents come in. It makes sense to do it there. Tree works, the council's tree surveyors will be carrying out a survey at the relevant site. This will help with the future maintenance and planning. Allocated and vacant plots. Since the last allotment committee meeting, 22 applicants have been contacted, and this has resulted in 15 applicants going forward with the offer. The allotment waiting list now stands at 49 applicants, which is the lowest it has been from the past few years. At present, there are 17 vacant plots, and these are located at the following sites: Thetford Road, 13, Berry Road, 3, Ickmill Way, 1. The process to look to encouraging tenants to develop sites rather than the town council identified at the past meeting is still being investigated. The numbers are up compared to our last meeting where it was only 4 vacant plots, but this is common to this time of year where people are choosing to renew their tenancy, and when inspections have been carried out, it is normally about this time when they would receive the quits and things like that. Plot inspections, follow-up inspections have been carried out on plots that were being neglected, which a tenant has been given 8 weeks to show improvement, have now resulted in 7 tenants receiving notice to quit letters. A second wave of inspections were carried out, resulting in 25 letters being sent out to individual tenants, and these were concerning non-cultivations, livestock, and health and safety issues. The allotment officer invited allotment committee members to do inspections of 4 sites. This proved a good opportunity for the chair to witness the ongoing improvements to the sites and the occasional chance to speak to a few tenants. In general, it was found that the sites visited were a good standard, and it was pleasing to see that most tenants were using the allotment plots to their full potential. Allotment invoicing. Allotment holders have been invoiced for the allotment fee year, which runs from 11th of October 23 to the 10th of October 24. The latest fee collection rates will be tabled at the forthcoming allotment committee meeting. Proposed work for the coming season. The idea is to upgrade the water standpipes. At the moment, they have plastic fittings. I want to trial some brass fittings, so as you know, they're more durable. We did have instance of water lossage the early part of this year at Mumford Road. So the upgrade will incorporate an isolation valve. So anyone on the site, if anything happens, they can isolate that point, report it, and it will be repaired. That's the end of the report.
Any questions, gentlemen? Yes, John?
Just as Mr. Chairman, that going back to the question about locks being changed, there has been some petty thieving on Munford Road. Myself was one who was taken some really lovely tomatoes and things like that, and other people had exactly the same things. Been some tools stolen and one shed broke in. So I don't know whether any of that has been reported to Carl, and apparently the shed break-in was reported to the police, but I don't know exactly when that actually happened. So I'm just bringing that to attention that would be important to change the locks because we don't know whether it's people within the site or people just making their way on.
The only disadvantage with our combination locks is that they're so easily given out. As soon as you change the lock, people divulge the code to friends and whatever, to children. It is vulnerable. There's no, I mean, it's the easiest and cheapest way probably to secure the site, but it has got its limitations.
Yeah, it has. I'm not sure how we're ever going to stop unless we just put lights and towers and guard and stuff to stop this from going on. You know, because where people want to get in, they will. You know, and the combination locks aren't cheap. You know, and it's ongoing expense that we don't want. But I think I don't know. I mean, the site holder, they won't do this when site holders are on there, so we can't ask site holders to be more vigilant because, you know, it happens.
My experience from when I had a plot in Bury was that almost exclusively thefts on allotments from the holders themselves. Unfortunately, it's an unpalatable truth, I think. In that respect, obviously there is the issue with locks. I'm not sure how you deal with that really, I'm afraid.
So I think possibly it's like that we put the rule in like the fences to make it more open. So this kind of thing couldn't happen.
That's going to be too expensive to put things like CCTV up or anything like that. Only if individuals want to do that part themselves. But
and you're unlikely to catch them anyway. You've got to review the house and stuff to.
yeah.
If it's any consolation, John, I've got a fridge full of tomatoes at home.
What we could do is put up signs that say this area is monitored by CCTV. And I've got some I've given to people and stuff like this. We could do that. You know, I mean, they don't have to. Yeah. Yes.
We've already got them on Bury Road.
Yeah, I know.
And we still had, it hasn't happened lately, but we've had a young lad climb over the fence from the new housing and just walk through the site and jump over the fence at the other end, even we've got the anti-climb bars on.
Okay. Yes, Terry.
Yeah, just a couple of comments on Carl's report. Firstly, thanks for actioning there's a couple of things on there that have been on there for a while. So I'm really pleased to see that the Bury Road tarmac bit's progressed, and hopefully we can get that finished off properly. The 17 vacant plots, are they all plots that are in a really poor state and that's why they're vacant? You know, people don't want them essentially, and they're not prepared to take it on. I'm just curious, we've got 49 people waiting, but 17 vacant plots, and I need to try and get that.
No, as I said, they have become vacant quite recently.
Okay.
So if you remember back to our meeting in July, I think we only had 4 vacant plots. This is just the nature at the end of the season. If people are going to give up, it's normally at this time of year. As the inspections, there've been 7 notice to quit. I mean, some of those plots, they've taken them on, they're in a cleared state, and they just haven't taken the opportunity to sort of to work them, and they become overgrown. Nature soon reclaims, and it's a case of taking them back, stripping them down, and reallocating. But we just have to go through the process of allowing them time for the improvements to take place. So it's 8 weeks, and then there's another further 4 weeks for them to clear any personal belongings, that sort of thing.
Okay. So we next meet in February, I think. January. So by then we should be further towards that process being complete, and there won't be any vacant plots.
We haven't had all the rents in yet. So there could, be further people, giving up. I mean, there was someone yesterday popped into the office and said they would like to relinquish their plot. So we're on a better picture. I don't know what percentage of rents have come in so far.
It's not as up to September, it wasn't as high as we expected, but October has been, money's really come in the last 5 days. So the statistics are quite difficult. We just keep focusing on getting 30 September results up, but it has been high. But what we are doing, and I think it started last year, is our credit control procedures are a lot stricter. And so what we found by January, if someone hasn't paid, they will actually relinquish at that stage. So you have a whole lot of relinquishments happening. We've had people split their allotments, come in and said, my allotment's too big. We've had 2 people quite recently do that. So it's great. It's just a matter of how fast can we turn them around? And we have a capacity limitation. I had a discussion with Carl yesterday to see how we could address some of those issues, because that's really what we need to do, is turn them around quicker. And we've come up with some ideas that we'll discuss with Nick.
Brilliant. Okay. I mean, I'm pleased to hear that, because it really frustrates me. If we've got people wanting an allotment and we've got vacant plots, we've got to sort out the paperwork side of it to make sure that's a slicker process.
Yes, Peter.
In defence of Carl, he's not full-time on allotments, and we as allotment holders wish he was.
Yes, so do we.
Another place.
I made the same suggestion.
Yeah, we all agree. Should go back to it.
Chris has been arguing for that very strongly.
In fact, I've said in the past he ought to have some help.
Yes, we agree with that as well.
Thank you.
We think 2000. We did have I went with Carl, I went round and visited him, got one more site to do. There was a couple on the Mumford Road that needed digger cleaning, wasn't it, which were quite difficult to do. So this is something that.
Yeah. I think even that's what we explored last year, around about this time last year, and that was to clear that area. There's 3 plots there. I haven't got many, but if you. It gives you an indication of how much a company was going to charge for clearing that area, which is 3 full plots. It came to just under 5,000. Since then, after the meeting of July, you wanted me to explore, or you wanted the council to explore costs of a contractor clearing. I can remember that figure coming in, and it just received, well, it's not going to happen. We haven't got the money. So since then, I've cleared some of those areas, and I've left what we actually need a company to do, a contractor to do. I've done as much as I can myself. I have to pull off at a certain stage because there's still birds nesting and that sort of thing. So this is sort of time specific. We've got a window, which is the winter months, to go and get this job done, completed. But you can see what a company would cost. Clear. Thanks for that.
There was something else as well on visits. Had some. Sorry, I have to stop for a minute because I can't hear. I'm really sorry. The airplane going over. I'm just lost. We should invest in an essay and say, look at it. Sorry, I can't hear. Just talk about this. I've had some comments from certain people that they finding it difficult to pay their fees online. And they couldn't do it, they had to come down into the office to do it. Has that been sorted?
We're in the process of getting a new website. And so that we, I'm the chairman of that particular committee, but I think the number of payments that we've actually had, if I look back since the COVID times, about 70% of people came into the office and paid by cash. I think the percentage of people coming in to pay is very low. So we do a lot of telephone calls and a lot of backs payments. So I'd say about 50% of the money that's come in has been backs, about 30% has been through the online, and about 10% has been through the telephone. So no one's actually brought it to our attention that there is a problem. We can always have, get someone to have a look at it. But we're also very conscious that we are moving to a new website. So we don't want to get consultants to go in and do back office adjustments if the site's not going to be used.
It's worth just having a show of hands if anyone had any problems.
Yeah, we can do that. Has anyone had any problems paying online?
I didn't have a problem paying online. I never ever received anything to say I've got to pay.
Okay. All right, we'll make notes.
I've been on the red bit on the side there where we do allotment, it just kicked me out of it all the time. So I haven't seen the devices.
Have a look. Okay then, all right. Any more questions for Carl Tutts? No, thank you very much, Carl, for your hard work. We will keep trying to get you. Don't know how lucky we'll be, but we'll give it a go. Okay, 36323 financial report for 6 months up to September 2023. Yes, Alan, all yours. Through his mouth.
I do apologise for the lateness, because this report went out. Our Allotments staff member was on leave, only came back yesterday, so we had to catch up all of September and then get processing into October. The figures are I'd say, very accurate. You will see by in terms of our September money, we've got £4,812. We anticipate getting £12,100. We've received money from forfeited deposits, £380. We anticipated £800, so we're about 50%, but we're halfway through the year. Now, other income, I'm fairly confident that people have paid a lot more in October than they did last year. We had more payments in September. This year we've had more payments in October. So I'm fairly certain that we'll achieve our income targets. In terms of the expenditure, the analysis is, let's get back to it. We don't keep a detailed analysis in our accounting records, so we do a kind of one, our little own kind of spreadsheet one. We haven't been able to allocate budgets to that, so you'll see the breakdown of expenditure, but our expenditure is relatively low. We've targeted to spend £9,460 for the year. We've spent £3,521. The major costs around plot clearing, pest control is a big expense. We have major problems on our allotments with that. If we don't do pest control, we face challenges with rats. We haven't spent so much on locks recently, which is maybe a good thing, and then just repairs to fencing and signage. So our expenditure is a lot relatively low. We obviously need to look at our maintenance plans again and start planning out what we need to do and start budgeting for that in a little bit more detail. But that's a work in progress, and we'll get that done certainly for the next budget. But overall, we've underspent for the last couple of years, and we can't see anything that will change that going forward.
Any questions, Terry?
I was interested to note there's a budget line there for special plot clearing, which we haven't spent in full. And sort of jumping back to the conversation we've just had, although that particular quote is extortionate, and we should definitely get some other quotes, I think, from some local companies. But I would hope that we spend that special plot clearing budget in full, readiness for the early part of next year to give Carl some additional support and to get these plots used.
I think what we have, while we have it, is if we find asbestos, which we still do find on the allotments, that's a couple of £100 just to get a small bag disposed of. So we've tended to put that there if we have carpeting. So this is not the maintenance, because those costs would fall under another line item. This is where we have to deal with a specific issue on a site, asbestos, carpets, tyres, possibly, where we have those things that wouldn't be part of our normal.
So do we have a budget line for general plot clearances? Or
No, it's sitting somewhere. It's lost in our, and I know you're aware of how we changed our accounting system a few years ago. It does get lost in it, but we'll have to bring that up.
Okay, that's fine.
Yes, Tom.
Under signage, there's been 1 or 2 incidents of late with loose dogs on plots and dog fouling on plots. I wonder if that might be an idea to put some signs up around that. I know we've put it out on our website for people who are actually on the website, but not everybody is on there. So,
Yeah, we've got a similar problem. I did actually put some notices up. People don't take any notice of them. There's 3 entrances to the Berry Road site. I put 1 on each approach. It's an A4 size. People can see it, but they don't see it. And I've seen at least 3 dogs just being allowed to wander through. I think the rules need to be changed. It says keep dogs under control. I think we need to be more specific. I know that's another subject, but I think we need to be more specific that if dogs aren't kept on a lead and mess is cleared up afterwards, it's an instant dismissal or something similar. Because it's not affecting those plot holders, it's affecting other plot holders.
We'll put that down.
And your grass cutting, I mean, certainly on the Berry Road site, well, not most of it, but I should think 50% of it's actually on the track where, you know, in the middle of the track. And if you're walking down there, you're going to put your feet in it.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
Okay.
I think as gardeners, we all, well, maybe I'm speaking for myself, but we all dislike cats, don't we? Because all the mess they leave and the rubbish they cause. With dogs, there's not really an excuse, is there?
No.
As ever, of course, it's about policing it, but
Yeah.
It is. Right. Any more questions on the finance side? Thank you. Thank you for your hard work, young man. Okay, 423, review of allotment fees. You can read it.
It's really just to decide whether part of our budget timetable, council-wide budget timetable, is to look at annual review of fees around this time of year. So in essence, what we have to do for allotments, if we do increase the fee, it's practice that we actually give 12 months notice. So people don't, if we do increase the fees, people have the option to say, well, we'll do it for 1 more year and then we'll terminate. So we had a significant change, and just put a little bit of background on it, in that in 2006, I think it was, that some officers of the council decided to opt in some of the allotment sites, so they had to pay VAT. The idea being that we would then claim VAT and redevelopment of it. But like I say, the logic of the working papers, I can't find. So what we found in 2019 is we lost 20% of our income because we theoretically should have paid VAT, so we had to pay that over to HMRC, and we lost 20%. So we put up the fees by 10%. It was done 5% 1 year, 5% the next year. So in recovering that, that's really where we've sat at. Our income, I've included the papers. You'll see there's the actual current plot fees. We have concessions. We also pay a reduced fee through the website, and that was going back years and years ago when we were encouraging people not to pay by cash, and not to come into the office, to rather use electronic banking. But now with BACS, and I think most people pay by BACS, it might just be worthwhile to review that particular decision as part of this discussion. Quarter plots, we did trial them by reducing the plot size by dividing some of the plots into 4. We could then look at quarter plots. They have not been very successful. We had a very low rate, £20 to rent one of those, but they're not very popular. 1 or 2 people have had them, and I think they've given them up because they've gone to a bigger plot. Obviously, looking at fees, you look at your income, and this table here that's on the back here just really shows sorry, my mouse is obviously not used to this pressure. You'll just see the flow of our income. So in 2020, our income was 12,201. That would have included that, incorrectly included that. So we went and did that. In 2021, it actually fell down to 8,433, and it's slowly been increasing. So we have been getting increases after that big shock reduction in 2021. It really is just a matter, at the moment, it sits at about 5%. Now, what we are doing, which has an impact, is every time a full allotment gets given up, or we take it back through to a notice to quit, we split it and it's divided into two. So the sum of two lots, half plots, is higher than the sum of one full plot. And you know, so it's about £60 versus, or 60 something pounds, £66 versus £59. So it's really just a matter of, there's a whole lot of factors to take into account. Are we charging correctly? Because if I go to some of the allotment sites, the size of the allotments are significantly large, and other allotments, they pay the same fee, but they have a much smaller allotment. We don't charge for water, and it's one of the issues that we have to address one of these days as a council, because everyone gets free water on the allotments. We close off the water taps from end of October, Carl, to the beginning of March. So, and that's the only way that we can control part of our water usage, but water is going to go up. I mean, if you just listen to the news reports, water charge is going to go up. And I think it's just the cost pressures that we have. But bear in mind that, you know, allotments have huge value to allotment holders, and do we deprive people of actually taking up allotments if we put up our fees? So it is quite a kind of balance to take into account. I don't know if I've given your answer justice.
Yes, Tony.
I think there's three things to take into account here, really. One is how many, supply and demand, how many people are after allotments. One is finance and how much money we want to claw. I think the third one, possibly most important, is fairness. In terms of supply and demand, the figures we heard today, I think we're roughly in balance. The figures look good. In terms of fairness, I don't think there's room for making fees bigger.
Terry?
We're looking at £1 a week for a full plot and 50p for a half plot, which I think is actually really good value. Although the other expenditure items roughly tally with the income, the salary cost is huge. You know, we've got additional salary costs. So, effectively ratepayers are subsidising allotments by quite a significant amount. Yes, there are benefits to the allotment holders themselves, but the costs aren't going up. I think councils shoot themselves in the foot by not putting things up gradually, and then every so often there's a big increase. And I would much rather see a sort of percentage increase each year rather than a big 10, 15, 20% shock later down the line. So I think, they should go up by a sensible amount, a couple of quid, rather than storing up a problem for 2, 3, 4 years down the line.
John and Peter, what's your opinion?
On the reference to the water, I mean, a lot of people do, collect rainwater wherever they can and use that for a majority. And it'd be very difficult to judge as to that person uses his tap all day and that person doesn't use it at all. But you can then start putting water charges in as a general thing, because some people are being taken advantage of.
Any thoughts?
The only thought I've had, and I've muted it at several of the informal meetings, is have the town council considered boring for water? I know it's an expensive outlay, but is it going to save money in the long run? If boreholes, I don't know whether you have to get licenses or what, I don't know, but it's just a thought. I mean, Berry Road is where I got an allotment. We're pretty close to the river, so the water table can't be that high. It's just a thought. That I know water has been an issue for many, many years, or the cost of water. And I'm just wondering if boreholes have been considered on all the sites in the town, or just on the larger ones, so that what money is available for water can be allocated to the smaller sites.
Any thoughts, Carl?
Did investigate that, and it was a case of powering the extraction of the water. You need a very big generator. They advised probably to run it off the mains if you could. So it was looked into, and we first sort of thought of the London Road allotment site, but it just didn't. It wasn't feasible in the end. But I mean, we could relook at it. But there is the case of power, the power. So you need a fair sized generator.
Yeah, okay. I must admit, this is my personal opinion. My initial reaction is I agree with Terry that not to put them up. That's just my way of doing things.
From my point of view, I didn't realise that they weren't included in those figures. So I might change my view on that.
All right, so what I suggest now is that we've got another thing further down for election of site reps. We've got a year to sort these things out.
No, you've got to do it this year or next year. So if we don't do it this year, you've got to wait another 12 months. So this is for 24, 25. So
Okay.
if we don't make a decision now, because we'd have to set out notices now, we might have to change our allotment year by 1 or 2 days, because the allotment year started yesterday, just to give people 12 months notice. But we'd have to make a decision now, otherwise we'd be deferring it to 25, 26.
We'll make a decision in the next couple of months, or no?
No,
No.
we can decide to increase it or not. Increase it. If you want to make it preferred.
Yes.
Where's 5%?
And any seconders? Yes. Any other options? Or do we vote on that one first? All those in favour? Carried.
Can I make a general point about payments?
Yeah.
I think it's really important that we as a council still allow people to pay by cash if they want to. You know, I don't want us to move into this scenario where it's online payments only. If somebody wants to come into the office and pay by cash, we should continue to facilitate that.
I assume also we have some other machines in the office.
Yes, we have proper credit cards. People,
Essentially, the more ways people can pay cash.
people can pay by cash, which is no dissuasion, but it's hardly. Can we talk about the incentive on the website as to whether we keep that, because that's quite difficult, and if people pay by backs, it's just as easier for us. In fact, the cheapest way from an administrative perspective is either cash or backs. The website is actually the hard, there's a little bit more work. We have to raise an invoice, we have to do a whole lot of things. And where the change in behaviour that we wanted to have has now occurred, do we need to still keep an incentive?
So this is a little difficult for me because I'm going to talk about my own experiences here, and obviously it's anecdotal and other people might have different ones, but the majority of bills of this type that I paid would be by backs. I don't know, shut it open. How do people, feel about that? I don't know, but the majority of stuff I do is by backs. I think most people have bank accounts, and most people are capable of doing that.
I mean, I found
Notwithstanding Terry's point about retaining the right to. Sorry.
I found it very easy to do it online.
Yeah.
I didn't realise that there was extra costs involved in that. I mean, that was just a fairly straight. I know some people did have difficulty because there's already pointed out that I mean, I do lots of back stuff as well, which is not difficult. If that's going to be less cost effective or more cost effective to do it that way, I'm sure that may be made more clear.
It's certainly in terms of the mechanics and architecture of the website, it's a lot easier to do that.
Just ask them, can you put your hands up if you pay by backs, please?
They're blowing my theory out the window.
I just did it on the website because it's.
The better question is, do you pay anything by backs?
Yeah.
Okay then. Do you pay anything by backs? Don't talk, just put your hands up. Okay.
To be honest, in fairness, the majority of the people that have got allotments, me included, I don't know, but what I'm saying is a lot of people don't like internet banking at my age, and that's why backs is not used so much by people of my age. would that be a fair?
Just nod your head.
And some people don't have internet.
No, it's true. Sorry.
Well, then,
I think
well, then the
Alan-
website.
Sorry, Kerry.
And Alan's question is specifically around the sort of incentivising people to pay the website. And from what I'm hearing is actually we don't really want to be incentivising people. If you happen to do it, fine. If you happen to pay by backs or you pay by cash, you know, as long as you pay, that's fine. So I think it would make sense to scrap that incentivisation. And just to give people an indication of the charges, okay, this is council wide, but we're incurring £5,000 a year in back charges at the moment from, you know, receiving cash, online payments, all the rest of it. That's, you know, that's a lot of money. So we need to be mindful of that. And if websites costing us more money than other means, then why are we incentivising it?
Anything you need?
Response in a second or two.
Can we have a proposal and second amendment? please?
Sorry, I was just going to ask a question. What is the incentive reduction to pay online?
Between on a full plot, for example, no concession, £59.40 would be backs cash, and online would be £57.70. So that's £1.70.
Yeah.
And our bank charges would probably be £1.70. So
Okay, so we've got to go back to a proposal.
just to amend the
Yeah, can we propose it, please? Mr. Jeremy, seconder, Mr. Land, Councillor Land, sorry. Okay, all those in favour? Yeah, that's fine. Okay,
thank you very much.
right, 36523, site rep reports, we've already had from Whitfield Way and Magna from you on, thank you very much. And nothing from the London Road at the minute. Okay, 36623.
Sorry, can I just got in there? One of my site reps has had to vacate the block, so Bill Thompson is no longer a rep because she's no longer a plot holder. But you can use me as a rep.
So you might not get elected.
Eh?
Yeah, okay, we'll do that.
But you would, sorry, Chair, but you would table anything that arose at Berry Road. You would propose that, John, you do the same in terms of if there's an issue at Manford Road, you could table it in this meeting. So I won't be requesting reports from you.
Yeah, but not only that, we've now got a new secretary on ours. So in fairness to her, she wasn't informed to keep you informed, if you know what I mean.
I did ask her, but I probably very late, but you had a chance to get to it.
Okay, thank you. Right, 36623, review of Ramsey Close feasibility study. Review the initial findings of the study and decide in principle whether or not to proceed with the redevelopment of Ramsey Close as an allotment site. We've got, which I appear to have lost now, a really wonderful piece of work, artwork. We did a bit a while ago. Any thoughts, gentlemen? It's terrible. Let's go.
This came through quite late, which is absolutely fine. I understand the reasons for that. I couldn't see anything on there about legal costs because the biggest issue here is the covenant. And do you have an indication of how much the legal cost would be to change it from designated play area to also allow allotments?
Town clerk had actually contacted Breckland Council to do that. Unfortunately, she's a 6 I couldn't get that. My understanding was it wasn't actually going to be that expensive. So it's not a prohibitive cost, and they wouldn't be willing for a general covenant, but if it went for allotments, for example, they would be quite happy to change it.
Okay, brilliant. That's really good news. I mean, we have money in our reserves for.
We do now.
I frankly think we should be getting on with it. It's specifically what the money is there for. We've got a piece of land here that could be for additional allotments, and we should use that money to do it. It's within the, you know, the envelope of the reserves that we've got. The only thing I queried, and I was going to ask these two chaps that actually have allotments, nearly half of that cost is for a provision of a car park. And I can understand why we would want to do that, presumably to stop people from parking on Ramsey Close itself before causing a nuisance to neighbours. But, you know, that's £10,000 of a total cost of 22.5. You know, are we certain we need to be putting a car park on there? If we are, fine, I'll live with it. But, you know, fancy your drawing power, really. But actually, we've got the potential to have some, decent number of allotment plots there, and I think it's really good news.
You would need to prepare the surface in some manner. It don't necessarily have to be tarmac. It could be something similar to the cemetery car park with like the honeycomb plastic thing and then gravelled. But it's surprising how much these things cost.
Yeah.
I mean, it all needs exploring.
I mean, there is an area of asphalt there already.
There is. I've took that in consideration. You need to sort of mirror that again, and plus approach track as well. If we do nothing, it's because of you're going to get a number of people go in and out. It's just going to create ruts, and it's going to eventually pull mud and stuff onto the road. Probably annoy the residents. So I think it needs some sort of surfacing. But I mean, you can go tarmac, which is, as I say, there's a patch already, or we could explore other methods.
I think it's a really good,
Sorry, are they full size or half size?
No, these would go as half plots, but they're not traditional half size plots. They're slightly smaller. They are. I took the size in from Madeline Street allotment site, and if you look up there, the amount of stuff they grow in that area is terrific. They use all the.
The reason I was asking was on Berry Road, people have made provision for cars to park at the end of their cut down the size of their plot, like myself, to park my vehicle there.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering if they were that sort of size, then.
No, because if I do that, you're going to reduce the numbers. I mean, that's the maximum amount. We can go bigger and reduce the numbers. You wouldn't be able to drive a vehicle down those tracks, those link tracks. Right. Your car would have to remain in that central position. So
a car park is virtually central.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we don't actually have a car park as such on Munsford Road. Our plot, as you quite say, we park on the end of our plot, but then that provision was already there. That we've not actually made the plots any smaller, although initially they were made smaller many years ago when the fencing was put up. I think most people see, but in that particular case, as you say, you've been reducing the plots by so much that, and that probably would be more expensive if you were to put tarmac down, say, the middle of the plots and, and make them smaller. That would probably cost even more.
Plus, you would lose some of that purple area anyway, because that is existing tarmac.
Yeah, well,
so
yeah.
Yeah, the central link is about 1.5 meters wide. So, it's a wheelbarrow job, there's a little recess bit by the main gate. That could be done away with. We could just, if we choose to re-fence the area and re-gate it, we can incorporate that into part of the allotment, so it's not accessible from outside. But I think you do need a double gate and a pedestrian gate.
Definitely.
Yeah. And you'd have no trouble getting your work done in and out?
No, shouldn't. I mean, if we put new fencing in, we make sure that the gate is wide enough. I think I haven't driven my vehicle through there, but it does look, a standard double gate.
Thank you. And this is well done. It's a cracking piece of work by whoever,
Yeah, thank you very much.
It's really well done. And congratulations to Jerry for bringing it up in the first place and speaking to the local residents.
The committee is for us to go forward and get proper costs and bring back a costed solution.
Yeah, I hope we can do that quite timely, actually, and so we can crack on with this. Can we also, I appreciate Terry's done some work knocking on doors down there. Can we, as a town council, write to the residents as a more sort of formal consultation? It's important they're on board. I mean, we can even share this with show that we're thinking about car parking and stuff, and that's it. But, I quite like that with it being half plots, because that whole area isn't served by any allotments. It's a good sort of starter plot sort for families and sort of.
Okay, so which one of the three do we want to go for? You Do we need to approve the quotes and commission and make a
No,
start?
no, we just, all you need to do is just agree in principle. So we,
Just agree in
we
principle,
go
that's what I
forward.
thought.
We will then bring up proposals to the committee, and the committee will then make a decision. Because it'll be in the project budget or something like that.
Okay, do we need a proposal?
No,
Okay,
it's just an
that's
agreement
resolved.
in principle, yeah.
Okay, while we've done this one, I'd also like to, if we get time, to have a look at the possibility of the site of Bruno Way. Yeah. See the options, how we can get on with that. Yeah. Okay, now we can do it. Okay. Right, 36723, update on election of site representatives. Yes,
I thought we covered it.
no, not yet. We haven't had we've got the ballot papers and all sorts of stuff to go out. This has been taken much longer than it should have, which is down to the fact that poor Alan is doing two people's jobs and things haven't got out as quick as they should. Our town clerk is off ill and Alan's workload is horrendous. So we are a bit behind with this, but we will catch up, won't we?
We will.
We will.
So what I've done is I've just put paperwork in,
Yes,
just for the committee to have a look at.
okay, I've lost my.
Can I just ask, this is for the smaller sites, is it?
Our intention is initially is to do Ecklock Way, London Road and Lakeland Street. And I think because Lakeland Street Lakeland Street has only got 9, if I remember correctly, Carl. 11. So 11. So we might divide that. So Ecklock Way and Lakeland Street have one site representative, and London Road needs one. At the moment, the Thetford Garden and Allotments is its representative, but it's not really a representative. Anyone is a member of that. So it's really just so we can get a more direct line with the residents there. So we designed a nomination form. I've had to work out how we actually do the balloting, and I think I've come up with the way. The nomination forms we can do electronically, where people just get an email that they sign, write their name, and send it back. The voting of which will have to be through a postal type system. So we'll work through that. There's no other ways to do it.
Can you bear in mind that not everybody has an email address?
We will do that. So we have a database at the moment. We use either. Unfortunately, some of the scam filters on people's internet is quite thorough. I mean, Councillor Jeremy sent me an email from another one of his email addresses, and I discovered it, in my spam this morning. It sent it 2 days ago. So it just goes to show that the spam, the filterings for the scam emails are there. So we're very conscious of that. But we send out all our lot of notices, and if people phone, we try and check. If they phone in to pay or they do pay, do we have your correct email address?
I know that certain people on Berry Road site don't have mobile phones or email addresses. That's their choice. You can't force it on them.
Okay.
Are you just happy with what we've proposed?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Right, the 36823, feedback on proposed programme of work and action plans. Any thoughts, gentlemen?
There's the reds there, which are obviously very embarrassing from my side, but again, what I've done is I've had some chats with Carl. We've got to create a little bit more capacity within the allotment side, because if I bring them in off the allotment sites, then the allotments don't get cleared, etc. So we have this conflict between how do we manage that. So we had a meeting yesterday. We've come up with some possible solutions as to how we can get an extra 4 days of him on allotments. And I'm just going to have a chat to the county manager and see how we can accommodate that, because otherwise it's just between the two of us that end up with all these tasks, and we just don't have the capacity, and it's very frustrating and very embarrassing, to be honest, to come to a meeting where you haven't done a task that should have been done.
Anything else you need on that? No. Okay then, so we're on 369. Okay, 36923, update on the process to complete the Thetford Gateway feasibility study. Update the committee on the process required. Any thoughts, gentlemen, first? Want to say anything first?
I think the presentation that we had a couple of weeks ago probably gave us more questions than we had beforehand, frankly. We're no further forward in terms of having any clarity about what's happening, which is really frustrating, and this has been dragging on for quite a while. We still haven't even had sight of the actual feasibility study, and I think that's quite an important next step. It's not been signed off by Greater Anglia yet. You know, that costs a significant amount of money, not our money, thankfully. But you know, we need to read that and digest that, I think, quite soon, so that we can make some next steps. One thing that has been sort of playing on my mind a little bit is it was quite clear at that presentation, whatever happens with Mumford Road allotments is way in the future. And I think this is causing people quite a lot of anxiety in the short term. And I did wonder if we as a town council should be giving some guarantee that that will remain an allotment site for X number of years, even if the council did decide to do something, just to try and reassure people, because I think we could say that it will remain an allotment plot for at least the entirety of this council term. And even if something happened tomorrow, I think it would be that, you know, would be likely. This is way off in the future. So I don't know if that would be helpful or not at all for allotment holders. I know people like to plan ahead of what they're doing, and I don't want to deter anyone from having an allotment. I think it's right that we as a council are exploring the options. I suspect we'll get to a point where, you know, we have to make a decision, but we're not there yet because we don't have any information. But I do think we should try and give some sort of reassurance for people about there will be allotments there for at least the whole of this council term. I don't know how you feel about that. I don't know if that's helpful for people, but even if we made a decision at full council at the end of October that we wanted to do something, which we're not doing, nothing's going to happen for years.
Sorry.
I was disappointed. I've seen the presentation twice now as part of Greater Thetford initiative. It was thin, and certainly nothing for us to offer anything in terms of comment either for or against, or anything else really. And yes, I agree with Terry. It seems reasonable that we shouldn't make promises beyond the life of this council. So that takes us up to 2027, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. But I'm very happy to put my name to something that says that nothing will happen to allotments in the next 3.5 years or so of this term of this council.
Yeah, I think it's the way, but I mean, the presentation, as Terry quite rightly said, raised more questions than answers. We all know the railway station needs disabled access. That's a given. It's how we get there that's the question. And the process.
I think there are larger issues too.
Yeah, the process is going on. We've not really had much of a chance to get together as a council and discuss this feasibility study because of things that are going on where we can have thoughts, etc. And I think this idea we should there will be another discussion between us and Bretland. And then when that's done, we will hold a special meeting with the allotment holders to fill them in, not literally, sorry, to bring them up to date. To bring them up to date with all that's happening. But I can assure that lots of you will be kept in the loop. We wouldn't have it otherwise. The fact that I agree with the fact that we can only control what happens up to 2027. After that, most of us might not, some of us won't be here, so that's all we can do, but I would agree with that.
There's a key line in the papers, which I'm really pleased to see it there, which is there'll be a further meeting, blah, blah, blah. Once this workshop has been held, a special allotments committee will be held in public as usual, and the allotment committee will be able to make a recommendation to full council, which will also then be in public. There's nothing secret here, but we are, I think, right to be looking at it, regardless of what the outcome is. So I think I'd be quite interested to have John's view on whether giving that certainty up to 2027 will be useful.
It would be useful up to a certain degree. Obviously, I would like to see it way beyond then. I appreciate the fact that you are, yes, the next council might be all independent, it might be all conservative. You can't predict that sort of thing in that particular time. So yes, the attitude of the council could completely change. But yes, I would love to see it there for the next 100 years. I've been over there 100 years now, but obviously I understand from what you're saying. As far as the disabled access, I understand a bit about the disabled access, but the railway still has not given any provision that you go out on one train, on one platform, come back on the other platform. So you've got your car on this side of the, I'm saying the Munford Road end, but when you come back, you're on Station Road end. So how do you then get to your car, which you've left there? And even the car park, which is already there, is hardly used because the charges, which are put in by an independent company, not even to do with the railway. So where are all the cars? They're all on the side roads. So does that mean then anybody parking on the other side, rather than pay any charges, they're going to be parking all the way up Station Lane and blocking all the entrances to the allotments, which are, which are already there. So I think there's still lots of things to be taken into consideration before we go anywhere near that part. But as I say, it's been there over 100 years, and as far as and not only that, you've still got to be able to provide allotments for the people who are already there. And obviously, and that could be one of the other reasons, because there's so much uncertainty there as to why, some people are giving them up because there's uncertainty. Why do I need to spend any money on here? Blah, blah, because I might be losing it 6 months' time. I might be getting a letter come through the post saying you've got to give it up. So, me personally, I want to be there as long as I possibly can.
I would agree. Terry?
It's interesting you say all that, John. None of that was discussed. We're not even that far down the line yet. It's just a very vague and broad outline.
Which
I with great confidence, I think I can say, as Terry has, nothing's going to happen in 3.5 years. Not a chance.
I would agree with that. I think if not longer, much harder to go on by then.
Can I just check on process, Alan? If we made we've got an agenda item here. If we made a proposal to full council to recommend that Munford Road be given certainty that it will be kept as allotment land till 2027, are we able to do that?
I know this committee would, but for you would be able to put it as an agenda item next for council.
Do that.
Yeah, that would be good to have a press release out of that as well. Yeah,
I think it's we need to be fair to people, and I hate the idea of people being turfed off Munford Road, because frankly it could be allotments for the next 100 years. We don't know. I think the council's right to be having the conversations with Greater Anglia and having conversations with Breckland. We owe it to the town as a whole to say, the train station is important, having disabled access is important. We are in the room having those conversations because we haven't dismissed it out of hand. But we also need to be fair to the allotment holders and give them some sort of certainty, because, it takes a long while for people to develop plots and to plan, you think about next year already. And I don't want to stop any of that from happening. So if we can do that at full council this month, I think that'll be a positive step.
We're already planting for next year already.
Exactly.
So,
The thing is, it could save you in a lot of clearing costs. If what you've just said, people aren't bothering to renew because you might lose it, car is going to be in there clearing empty plots and not being able to fill them.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is true. I think we have to assure the plot holders on the Munford Road that they do have this. We don't want to cause them any more stress than what's going on now, to be fair.
The applicants have been meeting at Munford Road who emphasise they want one there. They are aware, and that they seem quite happy to take the chance. They're just so keen to have an allotment.
Have we got Terry's thing to put on full council? Is there anything else we need on that? Got it?
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. Well, thank you very much. 37023, health and safety matters reported to the town clerk. I haven't seen any of this. Quite well behaved. Anything?
No, only the couple of bits we came across in our visit of the burners or whatever, and they've all been addressed.
They have, haven't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a strange one. And the other thing, on London Road, yes?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good one. Okay. 37123, correspondence? Oh. 37223, community engagement, which is what Jerry and
Press release after the full
Yeah.
council.
okay, do I need to read that so we've got it overnight? Okay, I'm going to read this out now. To consider resolving that pursuant to the Public Bodies Admission to Meetings Act 1960, the press and public to be excluded from any remaining items of business on the grounds that publicity would be prejudicial to the public interest by reason of the confidential nature of the business to be discussed. Are you in favour of that?